All right. Well, Mia, it's the week before the holidays, and I just want to scare myself into doing the Dry 21 challenge with the pause. And so, people who don't know you, Dr. Mia Chorney, doctorate of nurse practitioner. She is a specialist in cardiac genomics. She is also certified by the Menopause Society. So she wrote her boards. Amazing. Has been practicing for decades. She started when she was 2. She's also my best friend, my sister from another mister. So this is going to be like girlfriend chat about the effects of alcohol, where Mia is going to work on bringing the facts to really inspire this dry 21. So we're going to talk about that in a minute. But Mia, I know you've been seeing patients all day and you just rushed in the door. What are you seeing as a trend, especially for women who are coming to see you?
I see, as you know, only women. And so I see a lot of palpitations. I see a lot of fatigue going on, a lot of lack of sleep. I'm seeing a lot of people really struggling to lose weight, very, very frustrated with that, a lot of exhaustion. And so women come in with chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, just really feeling like they're spinning and not being heard at all. And so that's a really typical day of what's going on for me. And women are so grateful to be seen, like just so grateful for someone to take that time.
And you're seeing some women who've had the runaround for perimenopause and menopause. Like it again, without talking out of school, but you're seeing some things, right?
Um, I've been seeing some pretty startling things, as you know, in the last couple of weeks. So I'll just share with everyone here. So I'm very passionate with menopause with my cardiology patients because when you're in menopause, you can have increased risks for cardiovascular disease for certain reasons. Like, did you go into menopause really early, surgically induced? Susan, I had a lady today, not in her chart, anywhere in her chart. She came to me for cardiac clearance. And I start going through her chart, and she ends up telling me when I'm asking her, when's your last period? And she's like, well, I had my ovaries out only 10 years ago. And I'm like, your uterus, you still have? And she's like, yeah. And she had BRCA positive breast cancer. And she had her bilateral breasts removed and her ovaries out. And so here I have this woman who was 36, surgically induced, and so now I really need to pay attention to her. She was not on guideline estrogen therapy. She was using some creams, some bioidenticals, and all of that lends to an increased risk. And what you hear me telling you today is what I'm seeing every day in women. I told you the story last week because I told one of my patients hormone pellets are not, they're not FDA approved. It's not something I recommend in the cardiovascular field. I actually do not endorse them whatsoever. And she came back to me on the next visit and said her doctor told her her pellet was FDA approved. I'm like, that's not possible. None exist, right? And that's a big money marketing thing. So you're right. I'm seeing it every day. And I'm really grateful I'm so passionate about it because women feel very inspired when I can talk their talk and give them really solid advice of how to navigate their health, their cardiovascular health, and perimenopause and menopause.
It's shocking that I've not told this story publicly, but back in my early 40s, so I was going through perimenopause. I was having periods for 2 weeks, and I go to see this hormone doctor. So first and foremost, the monthly to see him and all of the supplements is about $5,000 a month. And so he puts me on this whole regime, and things are not getting better. They're getting worse. Then he tells me, oh, this is my favorite. This is my favorite of all. So I'm sweating at night. I'm still bleeding. Now I'm gaining weight. And then he says to me, it's all in your head. Oh, by the way, my friend wrote a personal development book. He's selling them out of his trunk. Here's a book for you. And I lost my mind. I'm like, do you know I have shared the stage with Tony Robbins. Do you know I'm a best-selling author? Do you know I've helped women break through by breaking hunting arrows on their throats? I do not need a self-help book. I need to have proper help.
Here.
And that was 10 years ago, and it's still going on today. And you're seeing the patients every single day. So this is everyone's glimpse into our everyday coffee talk, Mia and I, about what's going on. And we're going to focus on alcohol since the holidays are coming. And it's kind of, and I've learned from you, Mia, and our board of medical advisors at the Pause, that it's not as simple as, oh, it's okay to have 1 to 2 glasses of wine every day, because research is showing differently. So what is the first thing you want to say about the new research on alcohol consumption, especially for women?
The first thing I want everyone to say is number one, you've got to do the Dry 21 challenge with us because alcohol is definitely being labeled as quite toxic for us all around in every aspect. And Susan and I always talk about that. It's been great to come home and have a glass of wine, enjoy it with the girls, those sort of things. But I can't say enough to, and I really want to dive into this with Susan, is it is really being shown to be very detrimental. The new guidelines from alcohol, and I know we have healthcare providers on here. I see Paula on here and stuff, is alcohol used to be allowed to 7 drinks for a woman and 14 for a man. That was kind of the guidelines. Now the recommendation for women has dropped down to 1 to 2 a week, according to guidelines. And most women don't believe that when I tell them. And so today, Susan, I want to talk about why is that? Why is the guidelines dropped? What's happening? And what is the latest research? And why are we wanting women to really pay attention to this?
Well, and Mia, I was just writing notes and it's shocking, right? Like, because I'm getting on airplanes and it's 6 in the morning and there's usually some guy pounding back like Bloody Marys, bourbons, and it's now, and it used to be just men. And, and I'm going to say most of them are a good 50, 70 pounds overweight. And I know they're landing and then they're getting a rental car or they're going straight into
Yep.
meetings. Now I'm seeing women do it. I was on a
Yep.
flight and there was a woman pounding back rum and cokes at 10 in the morning. And I know that's going to sound very judgmental, but I'm like, if you're drinking in the morning, that's
Mhm.
not, that's that's
Correct.
that's not something that it's just because, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
and so maybe some of those people are nervous to fly or whatever the case is, but
Yep.
that is not normal. And through the pandemic, through life and stress and all sorts of things, a lot of people are functional
Yep.
drinkers, meaning that they can stop themselves at a certain point, but it's become so habitual. So what is the new research showing that this is doing to our bodies?
Okay, so I want you to imagine you're a car. All right, we're going to give that analogy. I'm going to do it that way. So the first thing I want you to say is think of alcohol as like fuel. You're putting the fuel in the body and you're having alcohol. And I want you to know it's dirty, toxic fuel. So it's kind of like putting some sludgy in there, and the motor just does not function properly when it's given alcohol. So the number one thing we'll talk about the motor, we'll think of things like the heart. So when we drink alcohol, we end up doing some changes. We do push our blood pressure up. We call increase sympathetic tone from it. And so your heart rate can go up, your blood pressure can go up, those sort of things that go on. But we all know that the heart doesn't like alcohol. And so having the odd drink here and there, yeah, you might feel little palpitations and tachycardic. I have so many menopausal women coming in and saying, I'm having palpitations. And when we work through it, they are having it due to 2 hours after a glass of wine or a couple of glasses of wine. The second thing I want us to think about as women, when you're thinking of a car, is the electrical circuits. So, when you think of your brain, it's also affecting our brain. It's clouding our judgment, it's impairing us. And you might not think it is because you're having 1 to 2, but it is. It's decreasing our inhibitions and those sort of things. So it does dilly-dally in with our electrical wiring in the way that it should. And the other really important thing is because it's toxic, the literature, Susan, is solid. It is causing breast cancer. And I need women to know that when they're here today. It has been defined very definitively that alcohol consumption contributes to breast cancer specifically, but also we know that it increases cancer risks because we end up gaining increased adipose tissue, those sort of things, and that extra weight, it can increase for carcinogens and things like that. But it's really important for us to know that it's solid evidence now in multiple areas of our body. And we can talk about this in a minute, but how does it affect our weight, our sleep, all those things? I want to dive into that with you because here we are menopausal, right? And those are all of our main concerns that we're worrying about.
So like if weight gain isn't enough, increase vasomotor symptoms. So increase hot flashes, night sweats. And I know what happens to me. And the joke, like, why did I buy a house in Montana? Let me tell you,
Yeah.
32 degrees Fahrenheit. I am sleeping with the door open in our bedroom. It's so funny. God bless my husband. He knows he does not complain. But it's so funny, Mia, because going to bed, he's wearing like flannel pajamas, a long sleeve shirt. And I'm like, yes, 32 degrees. This is the best thing ever. But I know when I drink, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to be sweating and I'm going to have like a much more intense symptoms than I would normally.
Yep.
And so the sleep disruption, and I do want to just do a quick PSA about weight gain. So the average weight gain is about 1 to 2 pounds per holiday season. And so that is very well researched. The challenge is that it accumulates. So 1 to 2 pounds when you're, in your 20s and 30s, and the fact that you're more metabolically active, we start to lose about a quarter pound to half a pound of muscle every single year after the age of 25. In your 40s, what begins to happen is that becomes stubborn fat. And as Mia mentioned, the adipose tissue. So now you have this accumulated weight gain, and some of it might be from alcohol consumption. And you look in the mirror and you're like, that's just not the body I remember. And you can do a lot of things. Exercise. We're big believers with protein pacing. Dr. Paul Arciero's work, absolutely incredible, and all of those things. But if you're going to continue to overconsume alcohol, it's like you're going to take 2 steps forward and about 5 steps back. So Mia,
Yeah.
let's dive in and talk about sleep first, because if you're not
Okay.
sleeping, you're going to gain weight, you're going to be cranky, and you're not going to be functional. So let's talk about how it interrupts sleep.
Okay, so drinking alcohol, a couple of things happen when we drink alcohol. We all know it disrupts our sleep. The first thing that happens is because it will disrupt our thermal regulation. So that's why women say I'm having increased hot flashes. And so alcohol actually hyperstimulates estrogen, which is counterintuitive to what you're going to think, but it's because of the toxicity, things start happening where we produce more estrogen. The hot flashes that we have during alcohol are not because we are lacking estrogen in a menopause way. It's because our thermal regulation from the alcohol is completely disrupted. We'll end up with vasoconstriction, vasodilation, and we just get really messed up. And so that's why the increased hot flashes or the temperature dysregulation happens when we drink. So there you are asleep, and that's happening. The other thing that happens is alcohol 100% affects our REM sleep. And our REM cycle while we sleep is the most important piece because that's that really deep sound piece. And alcohol absolutely disrupts REM. So you've got two pieces while you're sleeping: temperature dysregulation from vasodilation, vasoconstriction. Then you're having disrupted REM. Maybe you're having palpitations, those sort of things. We must remember when we drink alcohol, and I don't know, I bet you everyone on here doesn't know this. Depending upon what you drink will dictate as well kind of how many of these symptoms that you will have, like the hangover. So the nausea, the palpitations, the lack of sleep. So if you've heard of, I forget the exact word, it starts with a C, but the lighter the drinks, like vodka, gin, have less ability to do that, having the hangover or those disruptive symptoms. The darker, like red wine, brandy, cognac, all those sort of things, and sadly, Reposado tequila sits there as well, okay? They will cause increased symptoms. And that is because they are aged harder and longer, and they have more byproducts that end up the body working harder to clean that up. And it leads to more toxicity. And I bet you people don't know that. So really, really important. So how many times have I said, I can't drink red wine? I get palpitations 2 hours later. If I switch to other things, I tend to get less. So really important. I can post it in the chat, Susan, there's an actual chart on it, but that is really, really important when women are looking at that. The other thing,
Yeah, I didn't know that. And
yeah,
it's interesting too, because since this is girlfriend chat, so with everyone, right? So Mia knows, like, I love red wine, but I can't personally drink a lot of different things. And so if it's, and Mia will know, she'll be like, oh, let's do tequila testing. And we did for her birthday. And we had these little communion cups, and Mia had laid them all out. It was beautiful. And I was like, little sip, here you go. I don't like the odd martini, but I'm not a hard liquor girl. But I also know, to Shakespeare said, to thine own self be true, right? So
yeah,
we know, whether we're acknowledging it or not, we know what's happening
mhm,
when we're drinking. And we're going to talk about strategies in a minute.
mhm,
So the sleep, I'm writing this down, and okay, so we're not getting REM sleep.
yeah,
It's going to affect our growth hormone. So some
yeah,
studies illustrate that the best growth hormone, which is your anti-aging hormone, is secreted between about 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. in the morning. And so you're drinking, you're not getting that deep REM sleep, you're not getting your growth hormone sleep. That's going to prevent you from being able to gain muscle, lose body fat. So, and when you're not sleeping, your hormones are not regulated, so your body can't sense fullness. And that's a problem. So you end
mhm,
up overeating, and you're like, this is a great idea. I'm going to DoorDash a pizza right now. And then the next morning, you just ate 3,600 calories and drank a bottle of wine, right? And
yeah,
so that
yeah.
there's this cycle. So sleep, and thinking about, Mia, other things that are happening for women. So we talked about cancer risk, we talked about weight gain, we talked about sleep. It does it get worse?
So let me dive into weight gain a bit more. So I want people to know weight gain. So it's true blue. So for every drink that you have, you stall your metabolism on average 1.5 to 2 hours per drink. So that means because alcohol comes with toxicity, your body will spend the time working on trying to convert that and clear that, then working on your carbohydrates that you just had and those sort of things. And so you're going to store those calories as fat versus metabolizing them. So imagine you have a couple of drinks that will last longer and longer. Some drinks, Susan, will last even longer than that. And if you binge drink or you're out on a big night, the stalling of the metabolism can be up to 24 hours. So let's say you're having a couple of drinks every evening, or every night you're having the glass of wine. It becomes really hard to lose weight because you keep stalling your metabolism every evening, and you're having these liquid calories that are, it's a real vicious circle for people. So I think it's really important for people to know that that's happening. And again, depending upon what you're drinking, now let's have a glass of wine, Bell glass or something, 25 carbs. But if you're having, a foo-foo drink or something that's a little bit more special, that can be like 400 calories. And so I really want women to think about that when they're drinking. We all know when I became a professional bikini competitor, I had to sign a contract of no alcohol for 12 weeks because he said you'll never do it if you even cheat here and there. So that's again why I want women really do these 21 days and really reset your body. You're going to feel amazing. Your sleep's going to get a little bit better. Maybe you're going to break a couple of pounds off. Your vasodilation, maybe your hot flashes will get better. But if anything, you're just overall giving your body some clarity that is so desperately needed right now for all of us with all the things that we're exposed to.
Yeah, absolutely. And anxiety, right? That's another thing that
Oh,
happens with
huge.
alcohol. So
Mhm.
we drink to take the edge off, to lower
Yeah,
anxiety, but then, alcohol increases anxiety. It stays in
100%.
the body, it stays in the bloodstream,
Yeah,
and as you said, it's a metabolic inhibitor. So
yeah.
now, okay, let's count it. So we have bad sleep, weight gain, cancer risk, increased vasomotor symptoms if you're, going through menopause, and like all of these different things. But we want to also shine a light on possibility as well. And you mentioned the 21-day challenge. So for
Yep.
those of you who aren't opted in, at the pause, we are doing a 21-day challenge. And how it works is you choose any days between November 21st and December 21st to not have alcohol. So it's very empowering, because if if you're in the US and you want to have a glass of wine on Thanksgiving, I probably will, then yes, that, by all means. My husband and I have a date night in Montana on Saturday night. I probably will. But it gives you that power. And research shows, and some of you may not know, so my background is in holistic health and human performance. As I said, I've done speaking events and shared the stage with Tony Robbins, with Pitbull, with all sorts of different amazing people. And one of the big pieces of research is that when you journal or you track, you are much more likely to keep doing something. So if someone records their eating, for example, and their exercise, they're much more motivated. So with the Pause app, we have a 21-day challenge that you opt into. And the other thing that you're going to get too, and we're going to come back and talk about strategies, if you have an Apple Watch, and we are going to be integrating in December with Aura Ring, with Fitbit, with a Garmin, with all of it. What we did is we had our engineering team rebuild the whole back end of the platform. If you're super nerdy, you know what I'm talking about. And so we relaunched, and we're starting with the Apple Watch. So I have my Apple Watch, and I can see that my resilience score today. Oh, I did drink I love a good checklist moment. I drank all my water today, sent my gratitude messages, got my workout in. My resilience today was 79. Yesterday it was 71. I said to me, I'm feeling a little run down today. I went to bed early. We were texting. I got off all screens. I watched a Hallmark movie. So, April, if you're watching, love you, sister. Yes, I did. And I had a great sleep, and my resilience was higher today. And you are going to be able to see, as you're tracking your Dry 21, your resilience go up. You're going to be able to get help from Harmony, our 24/7 AI coach, on all sorts of things. In our Facebook group, we are going to have mocktail recipes. We are going to have daily motivation. We are going to have Q&A with our health practitioners. We also have a Pause Amazon store with our favorite non-alcoholic beverages. The link is in the Facebook group. I like Odd Bird. Beth got me onto that one. It's not the same as Bell Glass, but it's like, you want to put something in a wine glass. I also like Curious Elixirs. They are some great ones too. So there are lots of great options out there. So Mia, what are your top suggestions when someone is saying, okay, I'm buying in, I don't want to gain weight. There's nothing sexy about adding 3 pairs of Spanx under my dress. I, don't want to increase my risk of cancer. I definitely am committed. So what
Mhm.
tips can you give to help women substitute out alcohol, and really, as a health practitioner, help them reclaim their power?
Okay. First thing I would say is it's party season. So it is tough. I got to go to an event tomorrow. Is I still take the party glass and I use the party glass and I put soda water with lemon, lime, those sort of things. So I do that. You've seen me do that. I will use the party glass approach. So I still look like I'm drinking. If it's going to be one of your days that you are going to drink, and it's one of those, you really need to nurse that drink along. Nurse, 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 make it last. 1 drink an hour is what the recommendation is. But, I really suggest that. The other thing I would suggest is do not go to any kind of function where you're hungry, where you're going to be tempted to want to drink. Because, like Susan says, once you have a drink and you're hungry, drops your inhibitions, you're going to eat, you're going to drink. all that becomes a really hot mess for you. The other thing that I really want to say that Susan talked about as well is you need to journal. You need to track it. You need to journal. I'm a big journaler. Susan knows I got a journal given to me on my birthday night. I really believe in that. And so journal, I tell people you need to love yourself and really give yourself praise for the good things that we're doing. And so, do reward yourself for that. And finally, Susan, exercising. You need to fill your day, fill your cup with other things. So you need to be exercising, those kind of things, releases your endorphins, makes you feel much better, helps you navigate your day much better. Gosh knows you and I are workaholics and we have crazy schedules. We love it, but we also make sure we fill in our exercise, those sort of things. And I see someone said running can be fun. Absolutely. Running can be absolutely amazing. And, finally, if you want the drink, I know we have 3 Canadians on today. You guys have some great options. Every time I go home, my kids know I don't really drink. And Kaylee always takes me out, and she's now stocked stuff in the fridge when I come back. OLE is called Olay. I don't know what you guys call that. It's a non-alcoholic drink. It's absolutely fabulous. It's like a tequila soda water drink. No calories in it. You guys have some amazing craft beers that are non-alcoholic. There was a cherry cider I had the other day. It was phenomenal. So, and in US, we have our store Oddbird and non-alcoholic tequila. Doesn't mean you still can't have fun. You just don't need to have the alcohol that, messes with our inhibitions. So
Absolutely. And I would say, Mia, I love those tips, right? I'm a big journaler too. We'll have to put this in our Amazon store. I get this
yeah.
on Amazon. I love this. So I'm gonna also share too that being present to why you want that drink. So mindfulness. Back in the early 90s, I was living in Kingston, Ontario, Canada, and I used to teach a mindfulness course at a health club I owned. And then it became so popular that these Queen's professors said, "Can you come in and do a mindfulness course?" So I used to teach every Wednesday night. And we're going to be adding to the Pause app mindfulness meditations I've created. But the big thing I'll say is be present. Why do you want this? Is it
Yep.
a habit? If it's a habit, here's the fastest way to break a habit.
Yep.
Change your physical state. So get out of the room that you want to have the alcohol in, then go in another room. If you're at home, put on your favorite dance song. Just dance like no one's watching because no one is, right? And move, change your physiology. It changes your psychology. That's number one. Number two is if you're in a situation where everyone is drinking, as Mia said, you can take the party glass. I personally choose to drink in those situations something that I wouldn't drink at home because both my parents were diabetics, so I don't drink juice. But what I will do is I'll get club soda and I'll be like, "Can I have a splash of pineapple?" And I'm like, I feel like this is like the best thing ever because I only would have it in that situation, something to look forward to. And as Mia was talking about, don't go to a party hungry because often when we're thirsty, when we're hungry, we're actually really thirsty. So get hydrated, have your electrolytes before you go. I like to have a protein shake before I go. So I'm full, I'm not overeating, I'm not tempted. And the commitment and the community. And that's the thing we always say with the pause is more than a platform, it is a community. And in our Facebook group, you don't have to have the app to be in the Facebook group. You may be on a Samsung phone. We are going to be in Samsung next year. So you can check out, we have a very prominent advisor and he will make sure that we are up and running in Samsung in the Play Store. But you don't have to be. You can come into our group. It's free. It is so loving and supportive. And for all 30 days, we are going to be there supporting you, loving on you. We're all going to be sharing tips and recipes and everything that you need to get through it. I want you to think about coming into December 21st and you've done 21 days and maybe you have not done 21 days, maybe as an adult or maybe in the last 5 years, maybe since the pandemic. How empowered are you going to be? If you have the app, you're going to get a really cool badge As I said, you'll be able to track it, interact with Harmony or Gen AI, and all of those things. But if you don't have that in the group, you can still get a lot of love and support. So Mia, we are at the top of the hour. You've 100% scared me, which is fantastic.
Good, my job is done.
Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
sparing me. And if this has been helpful, we did stream to the Pause public page. So please tag your friends, invite them to that page. And the last PSA I'm going to say is I'm so proud to announce that our company, which literally was an idea on a piece of paper last January. We started to write code in May. We launched the product officially October 18th on World Menopause Day. We were just announced as a finalist for the Vasily HitLab Prize. There were hundreds of applications, and Vasily is a subsidiary of Johnson & Johnson, and there were 3 finalists. And so there are 3 prizes, and we are one of the 3 finalists. And we pitch on Thursday, November 21st. If you're watching this after, we've already pitched, but pray in reverse for us that, pray in past tense. And if you want to, if you're here, you can actually register. You can, on our social media, there's a link you can register to watch. There is a People's Choice Award for the fan favorite. So you will see us pitch. Mia and I get all of 5 minutes to pitch. So that's what we are working on. And we are so grateful for our team, for our investors, and for all of our amazing new subscribers. Our subscribers are growing every single day, and we're increasing our rankings in the App Store. So we couldn't be more grateful and excited. So anyway, thank you all for being here. And thank you, Mia, for the scariness.
You're welcome. And I hope everyone joins us. It's going to be a ton of fun. I'm super excited.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Hopefully this has been helpful. Drop some comments below. And we do these all the time. So make sure you stay tuned for what's going on at the Pause. All right. Bye, everyone.